Good morning and welcome to another day in paradise where the move begins today. I have brought a carload of stuff and I need to clean out the garage and start taking things down to make room for it all. Because this doesn't even scratch the surface on the things I need to bring. And as it stands right now, this isn't exactly practical to move things into. But the main thing I actually need to do today is clear this space. The plan is to move this door all the way to the edge there, remove this whole wall and just clear out this entire space so it becomes one big open room. That will hopefully give us enough room in here to store things. Then I'll also be able to assess how good the walls are and that situation, because I want to store things in here and I don't need anything eating my stuff. The other thing I need to do, potentially if I've got time for today, is do some pruning on the tree that is currently growing over the top here. It is getting quite low and it's creating a lot of crap on the roof. But first things first, let's empty the car. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I think we're definitely gonna have to reorganize this at some point, but I have not got time to do it today. I'll leave that bit to Jess so I can crack on with this. And I have come well equipped to get the job done. But before we start taking walls down and stuff, I think it's probably a smart idea to get like the area generally cleaned up, which means moving more stuff into the garage. I am most definitely going to need aircon and fans today because it is 29 degrees and that thing, it's like a greenhouse. Anyways, now that all of this is kind of shifted, I just need to bite the bullet really and just start taking things down. There's no point really getting super pedantic about all of the tiny little bits and bobs that are in here because I'm going to create quite a bit of a mess anyway. Right, hopefully I can dismantle most of it using my my drill. However, if push comes to shove, I do have saws available and a hammer, as I would like to keep a lot of the cladding. However, if I need to use the hammer, I have come well prepared. I have got myself some new specs that are going to help protect my eyeballs, because after doing work recently, I keep getting sawdust in my eye and I was like blind for like half an hour. And everyone keeps telling me that I need to wear some glasses. These are more comfortable than like wearing like big ass goggles. If I need to use goggles, I can use them. But hopefully these should be much better. So I'm sorry I might look a little odd with these things on, but at least it protects my eyes. Anyways, without further ado, let's start undoing some screws. I'm not rounding all of them, which is probably going to happen, I imagine. Oh, there you go, there's one broken. Fortunately, my mum has mostly used brackets to fit a lot of this together, so it should come apart quite quickly. One thing I probably need is a mask. If you have any recommendations for a half-decent mask that doesn't feel super uncomfortable to wear, then let me know in the comments down below. That's the first piece down. Look how dusty that is. Little fun fact for you. Before I used this as a storage shed, my mum used to keep chickens in here, which is why everything is kind of coated in this weird like powdery stuff. Oh boy, is it ever warm in here. There is a big part of me that just says, hit it with a hammer. But I don't know if anyone's like me, I am a bit of a hoarder of wood. And if the screws can come out and I can keep it, then I will. Especially all these brackets, because these will be very useful. Now, one thing I am hoping for is that these beams, especially this one in the middle, isn't structural. From what I can see, it's not really doing much to hold the ceiling up, but I guess we'll find out when I take it down. How long do you think it'll be before I give up using a drill? Part of me's tempted to use the drill to get all of the brackets out and keep the brackets, but just hammer the rest out. Oh my lord, there's screws everywhere. And I am absolutely melting in this room. Should probably stand out the way of that falling on my head. Yeah, that is certainly much easier. This looks incredibly precarious up here. We take this screw out. What is that? The hell did I buy a screw? Oh, it's so hot! Is that it? OSB. No! No! Shit! Are you okay? Well, don't think you took any damage. No, you look alright. I, on the other hand, incredibly sweaty. Oh, this is heavenly. Such a good idea. Successfully cooled down. Time to remove this wall. But as it turns out, it broke. I've had this thing for years. Never failed me this. I actually really liked how simple it was, but now it's broken, so I can't use it. Fortunately, I come well equipped. Right, new mount installed. Should probably move that socket. Just put those annoying caps on. Why have I done that? Oh, I'm not gonna be able to take that off as well. Uno memento. I wonder if my microphone can still hear me whilst I'm in the car. I have some tiny tools in here. Little screwdriver. Nope. Where's my kniff? Aha! Can't lose these annoying little screws. Right. That's off. Drill. Look it up. It's a big screw for a fucking socket. Clearly I wasn't messing around. I even earth sleeved it. Look at me go. Screw that back in. That back in. Oh, I feel sorry for future me who has to go through all of these really long clips that I'm filming. Thing is, knowing my look, I won't film it and then the ceiling will fall on my head or something and I'll wish I had filmed it. So, right, I'll tell you what we can do is we can repurpose those big ass screws that I just got. Pop one in there and we can use it to dangle these wires like so. Totally safe. Right, now we can take the wall down. I'm gonna move you over there because I think it's safer. Tell you what, modern day decor would eat your heart out with all this OSB. The trend at the moment, look at everything's made out of OSB. The amount of coffee shops I've seen and bars with OSB everywhere, you wouldn't believe. Crikey, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Where are the screws? Is there anything in there before I open? What the f is all of that? Bloody mouse's paradise down there, I tell you. Well, that's one place to put everything, I guess. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, yeah. As long as there's nothing moving in here, I'm quite happy. Oh, there's a baby mouse. Oh, yeah, just. Oh, there's lots of them. Oh, I found their home. Great. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to find these guys a home. There's bloody loads of them in there. Ooh, they don't even look like mice, do they? I mean, they could be rats, but I don't really know. Anyway, now that they're rehomed, I should probably sort all of this out. However, I don't think I have any bin bags here, so I'll put it in a box for now. Now that we've done pest control, let's remove this wall, which feels incredibly sturdy. Definitely not gonna be able to knock this one down, so back to removing lots of screws. Oh, never mind. Hammer it is. I dread to think what's in the other walls, if that's the case of this wall. Some rusty ass screws. Oh, that one's been bracketed on. Much easier. And hopefully now, this should all come off. I would like to reuse some of this, so if I can save it, that would be ideal. Because when I move the door, I'm gonna need some cladding to put on the outside. No more home for the mice. Now we have a really good scope of how much room we have in here. Just need to remove these posts. One. Oh, definitely felt the ceiling sink then. Due to how many braces there are across this thing, I can't see it falling down. But what I might do is get all this cleared out and then put a temporary post in its place just to prop it up until I decide whether it actually needs it permanently. I do not want the ceiling falling down. Oh my Jesus, it's hot. Right, that is a bulk of the structure down, and it is way more spacious in here. That makes a tremendous difference. When I get rid of that and I move the door forwards, I have all of this room. However, before I can get to this wall, I need to clean all of this up. So I think the best thing to do is just roll a time lapse and just get it shifted. Well, that is loads better. All the rubbish is gone. This is good wood. I've got some OBS left over. And in theory, I should just be able to remove this now and push it forward. I'm hoping that I can reuse the wood that is here for the door frame at the front. Otherwise, I have no way to fix a door, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna have to come back with tools probably tomorrow and do that. But for the time being, I just want to get this out of the way. But before we resume demolition on this area, whilst I was having my lunch, I stumbled across the mother of the baby mice that I just moved, as you can see by the video on screen. And it scurried around the edge of the building to try and get to where essentially the nest was. And it had no luck finding them, and it went back outside. So hopefully it can find its babies somewhere in the wood. I say somewhere in the wood there, it could have moved. I just put them on the edge of the wood for now. Probably going to regret that in the future as they grow up and come back in here. But I dread to think what else is in the walls in this room. I say that as I literally just watch it come from there. Oh, you can see it. The mouse is literally just under there somewhere. There he is, you just seen him run past. Absolutely tiny little thing, but I presume that's where they're coming in from, because there's a lot of holes into the ground there, so they're probably coming out of the concrete and then scurrying around in here. It's nice and warm, as I'm finding out the hard way. But anyways, mice aside, let's get this shifted. First things first, let's remove the door. Oh, wish I'd known that, they just come off. Never mind. Either way, that's one. Fucking hell, that's a solid door, that. And I have a funny feeling this one looks nailed in, but these ones are tons of tiny screws, which might. Yeah, I've not got a small enough bit for it. Fortunately, got a pry bar with me, so taking all of this stuff off, not going to be difficult at all. I think if we take all these off, look at this. It's like, oh, I wish wallpaper was this easy to peel off. Right, if I hammer in here, yeah, I think I'm going to have to just break them all off. Ouch! If I can get behind there. Right, they're all going to snap. Oh, well, these ones come off a little easier because they're longer, I think. Thing is, I don't want to snap them off because I would like to reuse them. Ugh. Oh, that's a big spider. Right, good news. This side is all screwed in, but the other side of it is all nailed in, which means I can just break these off and it's not a problem, and I can reuse the other side once I take this wall out. Fingers crossed. For that reason, I think it's going to be easier to remove this all out and then hit it with a hammer from this side, because I really can't pry the screws off without snapping a bunch of wood. Why I picked the hottest day to do this, I have absolutely no idea. I think this door frame needs to come out before I can take those panels out. Yes, it does. Screwdriver. Funny that after being in here for 5 minutes, I'm already dripping in sweat. I just had some lunch and a lovely chat with my nan, telling me some stories, which I could honestly do all afternoon, but unfortunately, as she is all too aware, we're both in the process of moving and have to be doing this. How many different types of screws did she use? I'm melting away. Okay, so this should all come off now fairly easy. Oh, got a crack on that one. Fucking spiders crawling all over me, man. The amount of nests that I'm disturbing right now by doing this. Spiders heaven and home. Ugh. Reclaimed wood. Right. Basically just framework left to take apart. It is, however, really starting to open up the space, which is nice. Just one window. Oh, made of my existence, I tell you. My patience is wearing thin, I'll be honest. Fortunately, I don't actually need any of this framework. I get to use this thing for the first time. Oh my god, this is exactly why I bought it. So good. Mindful of the camera this time. Timber! Let me move you back. Holy moly. What a difference that has made. Mission accomplished. I've just noticed that my sweaty hands have swapped the camera to 30 FPS, so hopefully that's not an issue in the future when it comes to editing it, but it's empty. This has completely changed this space, but this needs to be gone, so let's use some magic and snap it all away. Much better. I have brought the Hoover with me. Everything has been hoovered and tidied up. It is now the next day because it was unbearably hot yesterday and I needed a break, and today I have a headache and it is equally as hot, if not hotter today. But I'm hoping to get a window put in there and box this in, as well as put the door in there. Repurposing these two and some of this. First things first, I'm gonna cut this wood down to size. And no, I'm not brave enough to do this on my leg yet, so this will have to do. I see so many people like balance it on their foot or on their knee. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Accident inbound. That should then go here pretty nicely, which it does. With my window in a rough place, just gonna nail this in. Like so. And I'm just gonna put this batten here to support it. This doesn't need to be perfectly level, to be honest. Sweet. And then this one should just slot in above it. Nice. It's not square, but who cares? It just needs to go in the window. That should do for now. I must stress that this is obviously not permanent. It's just means to an end. Get it all in. This covers a lot of space where I would probably have to use cladding. I can now just clad around it, cover up that hole, and job's good for now, as I say. Later on down the line, I'm probably going to strip all this back and put new OSB up and make it a little bit more airtight, but for the time being, that'll do nicely. All that's left to do is reuse some of this and clad that. Now I'm only going to clad the exterior, not the interior, because it seems a little bit pointless and I don't have much offcuts left. How I'm going to do that, not sure. So let's run a quick time lapse for getting this all boxed in. Well, that was surprisingly easy. However, I'm a little concerned about the door. I have a choice really between putting it to one side, which would be easier just using this post that's already there, or moving it to the middle. I think for the sake of it being temporary and just getting a door in there, putting it to the side is probably easier, as it's, yeah, I don't even know if I've got enough scrap wood to move it, or I can always go get the old wood from the other pile. But as it turns out, these diagonal bits weren't actually doing anything, so I've taken them out, which gives me a nice flat surface all the way up for me to work off of. So as this is a fairly long vlog, Let's work a little bit of magic and make a door appear. Ta-da! A door. Now let me tell you, this thing was the bane of my existence. Namely because it is so hot in here, which is why instead of filming the whole process, I literally just magicked a door into place. I'm sorry, I know you guys like me to film literally everything, but my patience is wearing very thin with it being so hot. Have I mentioned that it's hot? Probably about a gazillion times. However, the door is in now. It is very much a DIY Dave door, but it locks and it suits what I need it to do for now, which is essentially keep pests and stuff out of here and allow me to store things in here without worrying too much. Now this thing isn't airtight, and if someone really wanted to get in, they'd go through the perspex because it's like really easy windows. So it's not meant to be safe and secure. It's just to try and stop like birds and stuff flying in here, which they do because there's a nest up there because of that hole that I need to fix. However, with that job done, you can finally see how much space we now have in here. Even with stuff still lying around everywhere, it is one massive space that is going to essentially become my workshop. There is a lot of work to do, like this roof here that is kind of rotting away and needs to be fixed and replaced. But down the line, this will eventually become my workshop. I think after being in here for a while, I'm probably going to continue on like the self-leveling that I used in the garage and continue it on into here so I get a really nice smooth surface, because I want to stick wheels on my workbench. I can roll it around and fold it away against the wall and just kind of figure out how I want to use this space. But for the time being, it serves as a really large, good space to put our boxes. But speaking of which, Jess has been in the garage organizing things, and I won't film in here for too long because these lights flicker on my camera, but all the boxes are stacked against the wall and we're kind of organizing this mess here. What you haven't seen is obviously because it's another day, I've brought more stuff down, and now all of the boxes that were in Benjamin's room are now in the garage and it's all been moved down. So it's now a case of moving furniture down and packing more stuff. But whilst I'm doing DIY stuff and fixing up the place, gives Jess a good opportunity to organize boxes and sort through what can stay here, and then we can bring boxes home to collect more stuff and keep coming back down. Because in the next vlog, I don't know if it's directly the next one following this one, but I need to tackle the garden, because I did say I was going to sort this branch out, and after 4 and this vlog being so long, it makes a lot more sense for me to just do the garden behind me, because I need to clear it all out for a trench and a digger to drive through there. I might as well do this branch at the same time. If you have any tips or advice about doing that, then let me know in the comments down below. I think I'm just gonna trim it, trim the branch little by little by little, rather than having a huge branch swing and potentially fall through the plastic roof. But on that note, guys, I am going to wrap up today's video. I really do appreciate you watching for this long. If you have done, big shout out to my Patreon folks who get to enjoy the vlogs early, and anyone who has bought Orion Whittle merch, link on screen for that if you want to go get some of yours for yourself. Can you tell that I'm hot and burnt out? It is now, yeah, it's 30 degrees today. It's incredibly hot, and I dread to think how hot it is in there, because with the plastic, the sun beaming through, it does become a greenhouse, and I've got through it and come out the other end. It's actually crazy to think of what it looked like when we first started and how much has changed in the space of 2 days. Can't wait till I'm actually living here and we start to transform the whole garden and the house and reclaim what my nan and granddad put in place here, because it has just become, I mean, look at it. It doesn't even look like a garden right now. Somehow I've got to hack all of this back and make pathways for us to walk through and stuff. But right, on that note, thank you very much for watching again. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, peace, much love. Bye-bye. There's no point really getting stupid. Right, hopefully I can dismantle most of the... Test. And snap it.